idea of how to date your mate. If you've ever wanted to know how to date your mate, this is our second session, looking at the idea of what does it mean to date your mate? What does it mean to date your fiance? What does it mean to date, period? That's what we're going to look at, starting in Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 9. We're going to go all the way through to chapter 3, verse 11. So hang on for the ride. It's good. You'll like it. Chapter 1, verse 9, Solomon speaking to the Shulamite. And this is what she says. This is what he says. This is the first time we see how he's going to respond. Remember, by the way, she just said how unlovable she was, how unworthy she was. He says this about her. Oh, Shulamite, he says, I liken you, my darling. That, by the way, right there, right off the bat, he says, I liken you, my darling. That Hebrew word for darling right there is raya. I liken you, my raya. And what he means by that is not his girlfriend. He says, I liken you, my best friend. I liken you to my best friend. I don't know a woman in this world who doesn't want a better friendship with her husband. You know why? Because think about how women relate to one another as friends. They talk. You know, all 5 women can sit around a table. All 5 of them talk at the same time. And then they can all be quiet and know what everybody else just said, right? Isn't that an amazing thing, man? I don't get it. That they do that. They can multitask 5 conversations at one time. And she's desperate to have some kind of connection with you, man, that meets some of the needs that her female friendships meet. She wants a best friend. There's no way we're ever going to do it as good as her friends do. But most men could come a long way in how we are best friends with our wives. How much we talk. How much we get into their heart. How much we talk about heart things with them. How much we talk about ourselves. And how we can talk about this and then that and then over there. And then come back to this. We don't do that, men, do we? We have boxes, right? And our boxes don't touch. We talk about this box, then put it away. Done. Talk about this box, put it away. Done. But women want to come back to this box and talk about it some more. And our brains start overheating. And we don't do that well. Women, we have boxes. Women have a big old ball of wire. And it's just all bundled up and goes every direction. That's how women conversations work. It never really ends. It never really starts. It just keeps going all over. And we're going, whoa, hey, wait. We didn't finish that conversation yet, honey. Right? That's why he's saying, I liken you to my best friend. And I think she just went, he thinks I'm his best friend. And must treat her that way. All right? So he says, I liken you, my darling, best friend. Now, be careful here. I liken you, my darling, to what does he liken her to? A horse. To a mare. But he's good at it. All right? Watch this. He's good. I liken you to a mare harnessed, not just any horse. The horse that's harnessed to one of the Pharaoh's chariots. They worshipped horses in Egypt. A Pharaoh's chariot horse got taken care of better than 99% of the people in the country. That horse was washed and bathed and taken care of and fed and loved on. That horse was above, and everybody knew it. I liken you to that position. You deserve to be taken care of like that. Good recovery for him, isn't it? Right? I liken you to one of the Pharaoh's horses. Verse 10. He says, your cheeks are beautiful with earrings. Your neck with strings of jewels. He just chooses to esteem her right there. He starts right off. You're beautiful. Your cheeks are beautiful. Your neck is like jewels. He builds her up and esteems her. And you're going to see him do this over and over again. The daughters of Jerusalem step in verse 11 and say, we will make your earrings of gold studded with silver. Yeah, they're going, we like that. applaud. Good job. Good word, Solomon. Keep going. They're encouraging him on. So the Shulamite says this. He's building her up. She takes the opportunity to build him back up. Verse 12. While the king was at his table, my perfume spread its fragrance. My lover is to me a sachet of myrrh resting between my breasts. The New American Standard there says resting all night between my breasts. They would wear a sachet. Is that the right way to say that? Sachet? Around their neck. It was perfume, and it would rest right here. Guess what's right here? Your heart. My lover, my Solomon, rests in my heart all night long. That's what she's saying there. You rest near to my heart, Solomon. That's who you are to me. And that's her response to him saying, you're beautiful. I love you. You're valuable. You're like a king's chariot horse. She goes on in verse 14 to say, my lover is to me a cluster of henna blossoms. This is something she's going to do over and over again. Solomon, you're like a cluster of henna blossoms. A henna blossom, by the way, is this little bitty, beautiful, red, tender, fragile flower. That's what a henna blossom is. She's calling the most powerful man in the world a sweet, little, cute, red flower. You know why? Because he is majestic in who he is, but he's tender. He's humble. He's gentle with her. Men, that's what we're called to be. We're called to be a strong, authoritative leader in our home. Have an opinion about things. Willing to have our opinion disagreed with. Not authoritarian. Not a dictator. Not demanding anything. But authoritative. To step up and be authoritative. To have an opinion, men. She wants you to lead her. I promise. You may not think it all the time. You may not feel it all the time. She wants you to lead her. But she needs you to be gentle and tender and loving in doing so. Solomon has done that. This is the example, men, we have here. Strong, authoritative leader in the home, but tender and gentle. These henna blossoms, by the way, it says, are from the vineyards of Engadi. Solomon says back to the Shulamite, verse 15, he says, oh, how beautiful you are, my darling. Oh, how beautiful. Your eyes are doves. This dude can talk, can't he? Your eyes are like doves. Oh, love that. Man, we can take some notes on how to... ask your wife. This is nice. It may seem cheesy. She would love for you to have a little cheesy. All right? Write her a love note. We're going to do that tomorrow, by the way, so hang on. Speak words of tenderness. I'll bet most of you did when you were dating. How many times, ladies, have you said, you fooled me? You talked to me like that. You romanced me when we were dating. Then you quit. Once you got me, once you got that ring on the finger, you quit. Once you had me. And he's going to say, yeah, you kissed like nobody's business when we were dating too. Now I can't even get a peach kiss. There's 3, by the way. A peach, a prune, and an alfalfa kiss. All right? Alfalfa kisses is what we got when we were dating. Now you can barely get a peach kiss. You fooled me. I thought you were all that in a bag of chips. He says, how beautiful you are, my darling, O beautiful one. Your eyes are like doves. Shulamite says back to him, oh, handsome you are, my lover. How charming. And our bed is verdant. The beams of our house are cedars. That's the first thing she says. You are like the beams in a house of cedar, and our rafters are like firs. If you were in this region of the country at this time, there were 2 hardwood trees. It's what they used for anything they needed super strength on, and it was a cedar and a fir. And she's saying, that's what you represent to me. You make our house, our roof stands strong and tall, and I feel safe and protected because you are solid. You're a hardwood. You are strong. And I feel safe under the umbrella of your roof and your corner post of our house. That's what she's saying. And then watch this. This is the big part. This is the crescendo right here. Remember, this is her talking. Remember back in chapter 1, verse 5? What she said? Don't look at me. I'm unworthy. I'm unlovely. He builds her up. Eyes like dove. Lovely chariot, horse, everything. And look how she responds. Chapter 2, verse 1. She says, I am a rose of Sharon, a lily of the valleys. She responds to his encouragement by being built up. She now says, wow, I am worthy. You have convinced me. I am lovely. Thank you. She says, I am a rose. I'm a lily in the valley. She now talks about herself in a confident way. I believe it's a direct result of the way he built her up. It works that way, by the way, in marriage, folks. It works that way. Now, I understand. Some of you are going, yeah, but I understand. I can tell my wife how beautiful she is, how amazing I think her body is, all that other stuff, and she'll still the next day go, oh, I feel so ugly, blah, 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 blah. Right? I know that. And I have to look at her and say, hey, what am I, chopped liver? I know pretty. You call me a liar? I'm not a liar. I know truth. You're a beautiful woman. She'll go, okay. I'll accept that you think I'm beautiful. She'll give me that. Shulamite responds to Esteem. And this is one of the things I want you guys to take home tonight. You want your marriage to be better? You want to marry somebody that's going to love you well someday? There has to be this thing called esteem that happens in your marriage. If you don't build each other up, the odds of your mate going and finding someone that will build them up is pretty high. And it may be other ladies in the church. It may be their best friends. It may be their dog that loves them to death. But somebody's going to build them up. Something's going to build them up. It should come from us, husband and wife. We have to esteem each other. I call it the sunshine effect in marriage. Most marriages that are struggling don't have a lot of sunshine happening in their marriage. You're not being sunshine for each other. I get this from the idea of this vegetable garden that I try to grow all the time in my house, at my house, and it drives me crazy. But I also and I can actually grow a decent vegetable garden. But what I don't do well is when my mother-in-law gives me some other plant that she dug up from her house and says, "Oh, go put this somewhere. Marty will love it. Go put it somewhere." I can't make a domestic plant grow. I can make a vegetable garden grow, but I cannot grow a plant like that. I'll kill that sucker. And the main reason is usually because I don't get the sunlight thing right. You know, some of them take more, some take less, everything else. For most plants to grow, they have to have an abundance of sunlight. What happens if you take a potted plant and you just put it in the coat closet for about 4 weeks and you come back and open the door? What's it going to look like? It's dead as it can be. Crispy, dry, dead. A mate is not so different. God gave you your mate, this plant. And in that, He also gave it to you and your responsibility to be the tender of the garden, the one that's going to garden this plant. You either give it what it needs, or it will wither and die, or it will go somewhere else to get what it needs. That's just the nature of humans. So we have to be willing in marriage to give each other sunshine. What is the opposite of that? It would be a dark cloud. That guy that comes home from work, throws his coat down. "Hey, kids. Hey, honey. How was your day, Dad?" "Terrible. Traffic was awful. Thought I was going to get fired. Didn't make any money. The world's awful. Politics, president this, blah, 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 blah. Just a dark cloud. Guess what? Mama doesn't get so excited about Daddy coming home anymore. Gosh, I hope he stays late at work. He's not very fun to have at home. He's a dark cloud. On the other hand, Dad's driving home, walks in the front door, hoping to see some sunshine, and what he gets is, here's this dirty diaper kid. I'm tired. I had him all day long. I'm tired. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to Walmart. The day was horrible. He walks into a tornado. Guess what? He starts liking staying at work a little bit later. He didn't want to come home either. He loves going to the deer blind for the weekend because he didn't want to be around dark clouds. On the other hand, what if both of you are sunshine? Hey, honey, how was your day? The day was good. Men, by the way, on our end of this, whenever we come in the door, whenever we sit down and fellowship with our wives and our children, because of the way God designed leadership in the home, they're waiting for news from afar. When Daddy gets home, he's going to let us know how the world is doing out there. If the world is dangerous and scary and oh no, and the economy and we're going to crash, we've got no retirement, oh no. Guess what? Your kids are going to bed shaking that night for fear of all the danger that's out there. Shame on you. You come home because your God is a God that will take care of your family and promise to provide everything you need, even though things may be difficult or tough. You come home and let your family know that you trust God enough that you're at peace. That's sunshine. Ladies, give him an oasis to come home to. Give him a place that he can come and rest and he can enjoy the sunshine he walks into at the home. My family, true story, and you guys know this is true. My family will reflect whatever I'm doing. If I come home anxious, fearful, worried, crisis junkie, oh no, oh no, oh no, and pick on them and raise my voice to that one and get angry with that one, it takes about 30 minutes before my family and my house is in chaos. Every time. They'll reflect what I bring in the front door. And I don't care how hard your job is. I don't care how stressed out you were that day. Get it out the door. Put it on the tree as you walk in. Leave it outside. You come in as sunshine. And ladies, give him sunshine. He's been working hard, beat up by the world all day, taking bullets left and right. His boss is on him and da-da-da-da. He wants to come home to an oasis. Don't let him come home to another war zone where he's going to have to dodge a bunch more bullets and your accusations and your frustrations and everything else. You give him a place where he comes home and it's safe and warm and comfortable. That's sunshine. That's esteem. And I think that's the way marriage is intended to be. Didn't mean to get off on all that, but I'm pretty passionate about it. Let's keep going. We've got a long way to go here. We're going to get through it quick. Solomon to the Shulamite, chapter 2, verse 2. He says to her, you are like a lily among thorns. I love this. All the other ladies, all the thorny little ladies, all the other, you're a lily among. You're a prize. You're a diamond among coal. Isn't that nice? Isn't that beautiful? And I don't know how beautiful she was. She may have been really beautiful. I don't think it mattered. He's saying, listen to me, men. He's saying, I choose you. I chose you. I'm choosing you. I'm going to continue to choose you. I want you. There's something, hear me on this, man. There's something in a woman that needs to be reminded that she is still all you want. Amen, ladies? There's something in her that needs to hear you say, you are all I want. You are complete for me. You are a lily among thorns. My darling among the maidens. Is my darling among the maidens. That's how Shulamite responds to that. Verse 3. One of my favorite parts of the Song of Solomon right here. Verse 3. She says, like an apple tree among the trees of the forest is my lover among young men. all the little trees, all the little men, all the little young men, you're like an apple tree over the top of them. You are a mighty king above the little trees. That's who you are. That's some esteem. What God doesn't like that? I told the guys, the church, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, I don't remember. Sunday morning, my wife and I walk along and she squeezes my arm right here and I give her a flex, and show her my muscle. She squeezes it. Yeah, baby. You got some guns. She doesn't care. But she doesn't tell me that. She gives me some of this. That's my apple tree right there. I like that. She esteems me. She builds me up. She tells me I'm great even though I'm not. A lot. She still tells me I'm great. I need that. The world tells me I'm a failure. Satan tells me daily how much I'm not going to do a good job at work. How that talk you gave was terrible. And how Satan tells me constantly, wants to beat me down and convince me of what a failure I am. That's why I love to be around my wife. Because she's the antidote. Baby, you're amazing. Thank you for doing that. I'll get home tonight. She had kids stuff all night long tonight and couldn't be here again. But I'll get home tonight, and no matter how busy I'll guarantee you, no matter how busy she is, no matter what she's doing, what's going on with her, she's going to put her hand on her chin on her hand. She's going to look me deep in the eye and go, tell me how it went tonight. With big, exciting eyes, wanting to hear. I've done this 1,000 times. It's going to be the same thing she's heard 1,000 times. But she's going to look me in the eye and say, tell me how it went. And I say, it was neat. Good group of folks. Had a good time. Felt like the video went well. She goes, I knew it. She'll say, I knew it. You're so good at that. Really proud of you, honey, for doing that. Thank you for ministering. That's what she's going to tell me. I'll guarantee you. And I'm going to go, yeah. Because that's what we do, man. She says, like an apple tree among the little trees of the forest is my lover among the little men. And then here's one of the most beautiful parts right here of your whole Bible on a man and a woman in marriage. Ladies, you singles, you find a man who will be a shade tree. And men, you find a woman that will respond to this next verse. She says, you're an apple tree. And she says, Shulamite, I delight to sit in your shade. I delight to sit in your shade. And your fruit is sweet to my taste. What she is saying here is you are a mighty apple tree, Solomon. You're a majestic tree. And I find my shade, my nourishment, and my comfort under the umbrella of your limbs. I get under your shade. I get under your umbrella. You provide me. You protect me from rain, from the sun. Remember, she was dark from the sun. I get under your shade. You rescue me. I need you. One of the most profound looks at what marriage is supposed to look like right there biblically. I love that. She tastes its fruits. His apples provide for her. He nourishes her. I'm going to say one more quick thing about this too. Let me just throw in a little birth order stuff. Anybody here read birth order book? Love birth order. One of the most difficult birth orders in marriage, and y'all are going to laugh about this. I do a lot of birth order stuff. In fact, I usually play Stump the Counselor, where I can probably ask most of you about 3 questions, and I can tell you what your birth order is. If you're oldest, somewhere in the middle, or youngest. I'm pretty good at it usually. I got a pretty high rate because I've done it so long. One of the problems that can happen is if you've got a firstborn female who was the oldest, she's authoritative, she's responsible, she takes charge because she has to. She's used to helping the other kids take care of all their business, and marries a last-born male. That can be really difficult because he was used to being taken care of. He doesn't mind Mama bringing him a glass of milk, right? And what you end up with is, somebody's laughing back here, so you got that deal. What you end up with is a marriage that has to work really hard at turning over the roles, the biblical roles of marriage, of leadership and submission. You cannot get away from this concept, folks. It is biblical. If you were here Sunday morning, you see all through Scripture. You can't pass it off as not meaning that. It's the way God designed marriage to work. It's the way He designed you to work best. It's where you are most content, is whenever you have that biblical role correct in your marriage. And both love it there. Not tolerating that deal, but both of you love that. So birth order can make a difference. For singles, I caution them. It's fine. If you're the oldest female and you're dating the youngest male, that's fine. But don't do it just so you've got somebody to take care of and you've got somebody to take care of you. Because that will get you in a bad pickle quick in marriage. It's not biblical, and you will not like it later down the road. Moving on. Let's get through the rest of this really quickly. She says, I like being under your tree. Verse 4, she says, He has taken me to the banquet hall, and His banner over me is love. I love that. His banner, He proclaims love over me. He lets everybody know publicly that His banner over me is love. And watch this in verse 5. If you're a Jew reading this, verse 5, in Hebrew, you're going to laugh out loud. You'll get it here in just a second. This is a funny statement. She goes, oh, she says all this lovely stuff. Oh, verse 5. Strengthen me with raisins. Refresh me with apples, for I am faint with love. Raisins, you know, if you ever eat a raisin, you know what? You know what's inside of it? It's full of many, many seeds. Raisins were considered an aphrodisiac, a fertility thing, like a mandrake. We'll talk about that one down the road too. She's saying, oh, give me some raisins. She's wanting some fertility, right? She is faint with love. And a Jew reading that would laugh out loud. That's a funny statement she makes there. Refresh me with apples, another romantic food of the time. And then let me prove out my point here. Look at verse 6. She says, His left arm is under my head, and His right arm embraces me. Think about that for just a minute. Left arm under my head, right arm embraces me. That is under her head, not behind her head. Under her head. That is a sexual position. She is fantasizing sexually here. Give me some raisins, and let's get sexual, is what she's saying. Right there. His left arm is under my head. His right arm is embracing me. Now, let me show you the next passage here at what a true man of God does. Singles, hang on to this one. This is maybe the most important part of your single life. She says, let's go to bed. She says, I'm turned on. She goes, your kind words, your encouragement, your tenderness to me has aroused me. And says, let's go. Most men you know, single guys, how do they respond to that? You got a beautiful woman that's saying, let's go to bed. How do most men respond to that? Not like Solomon. Watch what Solomon does. Beautiful text. And single men, this is your biblical responsibility. He says this, verse 7, Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, by the gazelles and by the does of the field, do not arouse or awaken love until it so pleases. He is saying we are not going to awaken love. We're not going to bed. We are not having sex until we are married. That's what he just said right there. No. We're going to be pure. We're going to hold purity in this relationship. Did you know out of the many, many, many premarital counseling things I've done, many of the... I was in charge of a 500-person Denton Bible Church, the college department, 500 college kids every Sunday and Wednesday night. Saw a lot of relationships happen, a lot of things happen there. Most of the time, two godly people who are dating, who end up getting physical before marriage, God will take that relationship away. If you can't be faithful before marriage, He can't trust you to be faithful in marriage. More often than not, He'll just take the relationship away because you just ruined it. That's why I said Sunday morning, whenever I dated my wife, I said, I won't kiss you till I ask you to marry me. Because I didn't want to mess it up, and I knew myself. I didn't want to get to the position where I turned her on so much, she's saying, let's go to bed, and I have to say, no thanks. I didn't trust myself to do what Solomon did. So I said, I'm not even going to kiss you until I ask you to marry me. And then I may take you to Vegas and marry you that night because I don't want to wait. I didn't. We waited a little bit for a wedding. Pretty quick. He does one of the godliest things a man can do. He says, I will not mess this marriage up, this future marriage up, by clouding our love with sexuality. And that's what happens, singles. Whenever you introduce sexuality and sex into a relationship, you can no longer discern your true feelings of love. Now it's all clouded, and now it's messy. You don't know how much you really love them anymore. All you know is that you feel a whole lot of sparks inside now because you just poured octane on a little flame called sex. And it feels really hot and really good. But it's octane. It's sex. It's not love. And you can no longer discern the truth about that relationship anymore. It becomes all cloudy. That's why you wait until marriage. I'm telling you, folks, whenever I kissed Martha Fussell for the first time, I had spent months falling in love with her heart and who she was as a godly woman. And her, me too. I'm telling you, married now for a lot of years, that first kiss was almost as stimulating as anything she can do for me now. That's how exciting that first kiss was. Because of the purity and the depth of love I had for her person, for her heart. And whenever you have a marriage that's going along trying to do well, and you never establish that love for heart, you only have love for body, you're kind of limping along in marriage. You got to back up sometimes and go, you know what, we do need to not just live off of sex anymore. We need to start living off of love of heart. And he says, I'm not going to mess it up. So, I'm going to take just about 5 minutes and just show you their first date right here. Watch this in verse 8. She's talking to herself. She says, listen, my lover, look, here he comes. He's coming to get her on their first date. It's pretty cool. Leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. That's how amazing she thinks he is. Superman. High buildings, tall skyscrapers. Leaping over mountains, bounding over the hills. He's coming to get her, my lover. He's like a gazelle or a stag. You could replace that with, he's a stud. He's coming to get me right here. Look, there he stands behind the wall. He's closer now. He's gazing through the window, peering through the lattice. My lover spoke and said to me, arise, my darling, my beautiful one. Come with me. See, the winter is past. The rains are over and gone. Flowers appear on the earth. The season of singing has come. The cooing of the doves are here, can be heard in the land. What time of year is it? She sees their relationship as springtime. She sees it as exciting and fresh and new. And he's coming to get me. Winter is over. The dark winter, the short days. There's sunshine now. That's who my mate is to me. 13, the fig trees form its early fruits. The blossom vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one. Come with me. She sees the relationship as full of life and full of love and beauty. It's not mundane. It's not dreary. It's not tolerating it. It's life. It's excitement. Solomon says back to her, watch this. 14. Oh, my dove in the cleft of the rocks, in the hiding places of the mountainside, show me your face. Let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet and your face is lovely. He's coaxing her, a dove, out of the cleft in the rock. He's saying, I know that you've been insecure. I know that you feel unworthy and lowly. He says, come out of the cleft. Let me esteem you. Let me protect you. Let me take care of you. Beautiful, beautiful passage. And then the chorus, the ladies, last thing I'm going to kind of end on here, say this real beautiful thing that's chiming in. It says, and see if you can figure out what this means. Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyard, our vineyards that are in bloom. This whole sexual impurity thing, catch the foxes that are in the vineyard that is in bloom. Imagine a vineyard, right? What would happen is these foxes would get into the vineyard, and they love to nibble the little blooms of the grapes. What happens whenever you pull a bloom off of a fruit? It never develops. A fox could ruin a whole vineyard by nibbling the little bloom. The whole vineyard is done for the season because of one little fox that nibbled all these little bitty precious blooms off. They're saying, you catch that sexual impurity. She wants to have sex. He says no. You catch that fox in your marriage, in your relationship. You catch that fox that's trying to destroy your whole relationship. And each of you need to think about it. What are your foxes? What are the little things in your marriage that are nibbling away that you aren't doing anything about? And you're going to wake up one day and go, the whole vineyard is ruined. You need to catch the little foxes before they destroy the whole vineyard. Don't be so lazy as to let it go by. Address it and deal with it. Address sin, deal with it quickly. And the last part right here, and we're done. Shulamite says to herself in verse 16, she's probably daydreaming here again. She's a woman. She's daydreaming, and that's beautiful. She says, my lover is mine, and I am his. He browses among the lilies. He's gentle. Until the day breaks, and until the shadows flee, until the morning. Turn, my lover. Be like a gazelle, a young stag on the rugged hills. Your New American Standard Bibles say mountains of Bether. She's going, be like a young stud on the mountains of Bether. They were twin mountains, and she's referring to her breasts. Be like a young stud on my breasts all night long. Again, she's going back sexually. She desires him, and rightfully so. He loved her well, and he esteemed her, and he wouldn't use her body. Of course she desires him, and she's honest enough to say it. I love that. Chapter 3, verse 1, all night long on my bed I looked for the one whom my heart loves. I looked for him, but did not find him. I will get up now and go about the city, through the streets and the squares. I will search for the one that my heart loves. So I looked for him, did not find him. The watchmen found me as they made the rounds around the city. Have you seen the one my heart loves? Scarcely I had passed by them when I did find him. And I held on to him, and I would not let him go, till I had brought him to my mother's house and to the room of the one who conceived me. She found her lover and would not let him go. Listen to me, married couples. That's how you do marriage. You don't let it go. You don't run away during trouble. You don't quit. You find your mate and you hold them close. Even if they're barking at you. Even if they're yelling at you. Even if you cut through whatever they're giving you and say, honey, what's going on? I love you. Tell me why your heart's hurt. Why am I hurting you? What am I doing? I'm going to hold on to you and I'm not going to quit and I'm not going to let it go and you can't get rid of me that easy. I'm going to stay with you. Women need to know, men, that we are committed for life. There is something about them that needs to hear over and over again, I love you, I will never leave you. I will always take care of you. Whenever you start throwing out that D word and you start not coming around and you start being away and everything else, they get real unsettled because all of a sudden their protector, provider, and apple tree are gone. So, hold on to your marriage and don't let it go. Then the last passage, verse 5, says, Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, by the gazelles, by the does of the hind feet, we will not arouse or waken love until it so desires. She again talks sexual to him, and he again says, no, not yet. We're going to save it for marriage. And you're going to see tomorrow morning, first section that we talk about, you're going to see the benefit, the result of what happened right here about purity and how amazing and hot and intense and erotic their honeymoon is. And you're probably going to be embarrassed before it's over. That's good. All right, let me close this in prayer, and I got a couple of things we're going to say. Lord, thank you for today again, and thank you for your word and how alive it is. Lord, help us to be romantic to one another. Help us to love one another. Help us to put aside the petty little things that we get upset about. Lord, let it go. Help us to lose the battle to win the war, and to pick carefully what we choose to be upset about. I pray that we would be romantic, that we would desire and respect each other. And Lord, that this word you gave us would inspire our marriages to be better. Thanks for loving us. For it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.